Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back, loyal viewers. I'm Carrie, the nosy housefrau, and today I'm sticking my nose in on the continued feud between Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions. They have not mended fences. Even with all of the success that they were having, it seems like this situation continues to degenerate. And in fact, the continued attacks seem to mostly come from Trisha Paytas' camp. Ethan did have a response up on TikTok, and apparently people thought he was taking it down, but he says TikTok kept taking it down. And it was basically playing kind of goofy music and pointing out, if you can't read the bottom, I'll read it. It says, "I was not offended by these jokes, but her recent claims that I tried to trigger her, harass her with S-jokes is beyond hypocritical and so low." Originally, if you recall, Ethan had tweeted that, and he knows people want him to talk about her. People want him to talk about her, but he just felt, this person was close to him and he didn't want to go there, which people understood. But then Trisha just kept doubling down, tripling down, making videos until she put out a video with SA in the title saying it's not monetized because it's so serious, and starts out saying that it's about Ethan, and yes, it's about the Frenemies podcast, and goes on to tell different stories. And actually, she went in a lot of different directions. It wasn't really clear to me some of the specifics that she was talking about and what her point was about him. One complaint she had is there they were, all of them, on the bus at Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, and he turned to her mother and broached the subject of Trisha's past SA. I don't know if that happened, but it was one of their chief complaints. Another complaint she had was that he was pushing the subject of Robin Williams. I have very strong opinions about that. It makes my blood boil when she brings it up. She talks about everything on this planet, but she doesn't want to talk about that, and I believe that's because it's a BS story that never happened. If anybody remembers, Trisha, there she was in her full troll regalia back in the day. The day he died, it was less than 24 hours later or so, she had a video up implying that she effed the guy. And out of respect for his family, she doesn't want to say what happened, which of course is implying it heavily. He wasn't even cold, okay? And she put, so many of us loved Robin Williams, and for her to sully him when everybody was still reeling from his death, she exploited it for views. It was unconscionably wrong. I believe she will never, ever admit that that was a lie. Conveniently, the only other person who can confirm or deny that story has passed away, and she won't have to ever say it didn't happen. And even if it had, the timing of that was beyond tacky. And don't tell me she didn't know that by saying she can't say anything, she knew she was saying a whole lot. Now, if I seem like I'm being too mean to Trisha, then I will just say I was in a bad mood that day. And it was just a lash out. She was saying he made her feel uncomfortable on the show, that she felt that he was sexualizing her, and she doesn't want to be sexualized. I'll go ahead and pause if you have to laugh, because that's her story and she's sticking to it. And in fact, this became a debate on Twitter because a lot of people were saying, well, she never actually said he was, SHing her. There was no harassment. She never actually said those words. I cannot believe how many people do not know the perimeters of the law when it comes to harassment in the workplace. What she did is the very definition of it. And in fact, Ethan tried to explain that to people too and said, that's the textbook definition. When people are like, she never actually said those words, Ethan. You're putting words in her mouth. There's no man on this planet that wouldn't be concerned about a female coworker making a video, or a male coworker making a video saying that they made them uncomfortable. That's like right there. You can say something. And I could show you the legion of inappropriate comments she's made about wanting to F him and everything else. His seed must taste like Skittles. Like, she would tweet out all the most disgusting things. And of course, I've made it more family-oriented as much as you can. But she continued with that. She's continued to escalate it. And today, her sister has an Instagram where she's like, we went to Disney and we paid for everything. He didn't even pay for the dinner. He said he was going to pay for dinner and he didn't pay for it. I will link it below. But it is beyond belief to me that these people just continue to attack him. And he said, wow, Now her sister's coming for me. And Trisha posted, you know, why do you have to keep it up, basically? Why do you have, which is ridiculous because she's been continuing with this onslaught of how horrible he is. Because Trisha can't just have a disagreement with somebody. If Trisha loves somebody to the hilt, and I know I'm going to see in the comments that what this is indicative of, I'm not diagnosing anybody, but I know a lot of you have your thoughts on that. It does go with disorders, this polarization of people. When Trisha falls out with someone, they're not just somebody who hurt her or two people who had a disagreement. They become the scourge of the earth. She describes them as criminal. They're just so awful and so horrible, and she's just the victim. She does this a lot, and it's so sad to see because she could have diffused this situation so easily. In fact, she posted today that he lied and said everything was okay the night after the podcast. And I was thinking, well, that was when he didn't know you were going to put up a video, perhaps, and maybe I've got the timeline wrong, but the next day she put up a video saying she wasn't going back. Now, a lot of that is his own fault for being dumb enough to tell the staff she wanted them all fired. I have no idea why he was that clueless. But he didn't have the same reactions and the same intents as Trisha, who's just not relenting. For her sister to make a video about them paying for Disneyland and how he practically invited himself, etc., I don't believe all that. Now, he tweeted that he practically begged Moses to let him pay. And whether that's true or not, which it probably is, but most people would offer to pay their own ticket, especially if they have the money, I think. But even if it weren't true, if you paid for somebody, you gave them a gift. You don't need to hold that over their head. And is this really the best timing to call him cheap when you have been continually saying he's Jewy? In fact, in her last video, when she excused it, she was like, well, he told me to stop and I stopped. You're a woman in your 30s and you don't know to say things like that? Someone has to tell you to stop? What else do you do? You know, I parked my car outside of the lines and I dinged their car with my car door. But as soon as they told me to stop, I stopped doing that. I was like, okay, I'll park in the lines. I mean, look how nice I am to change things up when people tell me to stop doing it. The stuff she says to excuse herself, the mental gymnastics are ridiculous. And it's like watching somebody who can't even balance on the balance beam with their mental gymnastics. To say that somebody is cheap because you paid for things. This was not the time or place to say that. If you had a problem with it, why'd you do it? Somebody tells you that they were going to pay and you don't, oh no, I got this. That's probably how it happened. But let's face facts. All of these people have money. Nobody got hurt financially. Trisha wastes money like it's water. In every video you see of her, she's got tons of crap behind her. She's today doing a dream closet video. I hope she hangs some stuff up instead of just throwing it on the floor and on the chairs and everything behind her. She doesn't even know what she has. But now she's going to have a problem over some Disney tickets and a dinner, which is really not digging into her pockets too deep. And none of these people need to pay for each other. It was just a gesture at that point. They all have money. They can pay for themselves. It's not like Ethan and Hila were saying, oh, look, we got one over on them. I doubt it went down like that at all. But they continue to trash him and then say, well, what do you want from me? She's like tweeting out, you've already won in the court of public opinion. You've already, you just continue to evade and these lies that you told, which everybody knows wasn't a lie. She did say she wanted to clean house, so what lie is he hiding from? How is he harassing her when she's the one who's tweeting all week long about the guy? She refused to mend fences, and she's like, now you're saying I'm ruining your family. I don't see how she's not creating a divide. Because you're telling me that she's not at some point going to say to Moses, it's them or me. That's what this is leading to. She's already got him isolated. And now I don't know what goes on between the brother and sister and that whole family. Their relationship is their relationship. Mind you, all this stress is coming down when Hila is pregnant and really could probably do without this. I mean, they just took a huge hit to their income. They don't know what's going to happen with all that merch. I'm sure they're still going to be fine, of course, but it doesn't help that she left him with all of that merch, allegedly, if they can't sell it, and then promoted her own. Her own sad boy merch that basically looks like a 3-year-old took a Sharpie. All right, a kindergartner took a Sharpie to your clothing. I have to say, I thought it was going to look really dumb because of the Sharpie thing. But really, the stuff she was wearing today, like in her video and stuff, it looked cute. She had like the jumper on and the hat, and it's definitely for younger people maybe, but it wasn't bad merch. I've certainly seen worse, and it was recognizable, which is a good thing. It wasn't quite tie-dye, but it was like this pink, and I'll put a picture up of it. I could see young people really liking it. I know that's like a $40 hat. No, thank you. I could even get one like that at REI and put my own Sharpie on it. I've really been laying into Trisha today. I know. If I seem passionate about it, I'm not more invested than it sounds, but I've just been reading these tweets recently, and I just feel like it's relentless with her. And her sister brought up the 5% when she was talking about the Disney tickets. She was like, oh, he could afford to pay because he gets that 5%. They harp on that 5% so much. And boy, would you cut off your nose to spite your face the way she did over that 5%? Now you're making, hang on while I add it up, get my calculations here. That's carry the one. Yeah, $0.00. That's how much she is now making because she had to make such a big deal out of that 5%. Don't make me sing it. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So now, instead of diffusing it, she has made him this horrible enemy of a person. That's going to be a fascinating wedding. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall there? You can cut the tension with a knife. I'm sure. But you know, I think we all know that Ela and Ethan will be nice to her. They will always give her another chance to, and he even said that. He said, I'll always give her a lot of chances. I think he's behaved a lot better than she has, and it's very sad to see someone self-sabotage this way. She is just doubling down. It seems like she can't take the fact that she doesn't have a lot of people on her side, because remember in the past she's always very gleefully threatened to weaponize her viewers, and I don't know how she can do it because she barely acknowledges them. She did put a couple of clips in her videos though. When she needed allies, she put clips of other people saying how great she was. Other than that, she doesn't really have a use for people, which is probably why she didn't want to do like a Q&A advice thing. I think that it would really go a long way if she could just stop, take it off the internet, let time pass. I mean, if you don't, it could easily be something people say you're doing for attention. I don't believe any of this was staged, by the way. I think this is genuine, and I think that she's hurting herself, she's hurting the people around her, and I hope that with some time she can look back and learn from it to not keep repeating these things, and look at it and say, okay, the next time this happens, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop myself, because she tends to live without consequences, and that doesn't bring out her best choices. So hopefully they can all work it out and have a lovely wedding celebration where people aren't, at each other's throats. And or at this point, it could be where she says no, or they're not invited, and forces Moses to choose. And I really hope that doesn't happen, because any single thing that Ethan does makes her feel very attacked and very threatened. And she's actually saying, what do you want him to leave me? Nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that. And she was talking about him throwing the past in her face by saying the things that she said to them. But he mentioned that for context after the way she laid into him. She just publicly lambasted him. And I think he had a right to say, I think I've been more than reasonable because of the things that I have overlooked with her. And she can't say that nobody else can do that when that's her MO constantly. She will use anything she has on people. So I hope that she gets it together. Probably a lot of us are going to be done with this story long before she is. And I guess we'll see what happens next. I have a video coming up for you about more evidence that came about Creepshow art, and I'm going to get to work on that right after this, so it should be up by tomorrow, the latest. Thank you so much if you've listened this far. Please do let me know what you think down in the comments. Was I too rough on Trisha, or not mean enough, or what do you think? Do you think they're going to mend fences? I'm thinking it's still possible. I know I'm probably the last person to think this, and I'm can't always really trust my observations anymore, but I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility, especially since they have to be in each other's lives, and it's very hard to keep up this kind of a feud, especially with people who are going to be your in-laws. I think that at some point she's going to go, okay, enough, I've got to do something to make this better. Right now she doesn't feel like doing that, but I feel like a lot of it has been within her control. They fell out when she wanted them to fall out. They get back together when she wants them to get back together. She is pulling the strings at this point, and the ball is in her court. So we'll see what happens. And again, thank you for listening. Until next time, Hausfrau out.